We've organized 3 insane game dev battles, pitting 100% human game developers versus AI developers. The rules are simple. We provide a theme, and the human developer must make an entire video game from scratch, completely homemade, without using any AI tool whatsoever. While the AI developer must cook his entire project using AI ideas, artwork, code, music, and sounds. So the question is, who will make the best game? Let's find out, starting with the first battle, and the theme is sports. We'll begin with the human developer.
Hi there, my name is Pixel, and if you don't know me, yeah, I can't really blame you. But jokes aside, when I first got the invitation to this challenge, I was like, hell yeah. But when I learned about the topic sports, I was more like, ugh. Because what interesting game can you really create around a topic like sports? Either you make the next EA football game, looking at these f***ass graphics, I could probably do that too in 7 days, or make a generic car racing game for the 1 millionth time. I don't know how many are on Steam right now. But I decided to take a look at a less interesting sport, but add a new interesting twist to it: bowling. I made some basic prototyping for a possible bowling game by first modeling a basic bowling ball and also a pin in Blender, and then playing around with the physics system in Unreal Engine for a while. And yeah, what can I really say about this? After figuring out a system for the player to choose and equip balls, throwing them, and then switching to the view of the pins so the player can actually see what pins he hit, or if the ball just, you know. Damn it, I kinda suck at this, bro. Next came the location for the game. I started modeling some kind of old bowling lane, went a bit for that vintage style with the black and red walls and also that old wooden floor. I was going for that old retro look as well, with the low resolution and pixelated textures, and therefore I also added a post-processing pixel shader to enhance that effect even further. I got a bit caught up in the decoration process though, so I went on and added some old newspaper or just, you know, paper parts in general and plastered them onto the walls next to the door, so the whole scene looks a bit less empty. But as you have probably noticed, I had a little section over here as well, a little room which I wanted to use as the shop, because as I came up with the idea for the game, I thought bowling alone could maybe turn out too boring or not interesting enough to base a whole game around it. Like, long story short, I made it a bowling roguelike. Oh, and you also play against a devil, but we will get to that later on. Every round you need to meet a quota, knock over a certain amount of pins, or you die. Damn, this kinda sounded more cool and dramatic in my head before. You get paid each round for the amount of pins you knocked over, and as the quota increases exponentially, I had to add some sort of item that helps you go with the difficulty curve over time. Introducing tarot cards. Tarot cards? These funny little cards will be randomly drawn by the shopkeeper at the end of every round. I made a system so they spawn turned around though. So you can either spend all your hard-earned money and reveal the card straight before buying it, or go full gamble and put everything on red. I mean buy every card without knowing the trade and eventually pulling a bad card. In total, I added 8 different card types with different rarities, of which some have positive effects like increasing the pin value by 1 or increasing the ball accuracy, while some others lower the worth of each pin, for example. As I've said before, you're playing bowling against the devil, so I added him as the shopkeeper and made a quick model on Blender, which turned out pretty decent. Wait, what are you? No, don't turn him. Oh, fuck. Yeah, at least he looks alright from the front. We don't talk about the back here, okay? But I also gave him some dialogue systems, explaining to you the rules of the game and instructing you to press this very subtle yellow button here. Though bowling is not about the amount of pins you knock over, but also in how many throws you can knock them all down, I added the strike and spare detection and some little gambling like animations when you hit them all. With that, my 7 days were up. I uploaded the game to itch.io and you guys can play it for free if you want. It's called Devil's Lane, so go ahead and give it a try. Maybe they will put a link in the description or so. Cheers.
Just before continuing with this battle, we wanted to give a big thank you to Ovani Sound for sponsoring this video. They make premium quality music and audio assets tailored for game development, providing everyone with AAA level audio. And because it is Black Friday, they have some crazy deals, including one we handcrafted together. Creating incredible sound effects is really a whole craft in itself, so if you're overwhelmed by the idea of making top-notch quality sounds for your projects, you should definitely check out Ovani Sound. You can search for sounds and music by mood, from epic to mysterious, and each audio piece is a quality work of art handcrafted by humans, with, in fact, no AI in sight. We've collaborated with Ovani Sound to make a special Black Friday mega bundle, so for only $29 you'll gain access to insane horror sounds, a giant steampunk sound effects pack, orchestral ambient music, animal sound effects, and so much more. Within this bundle, you'll also find the Unity, Unreal, and Godot music plugins, which allows you to easily trigger changes in song intensity and selection. This bundle is an absolute steal, only available for this Black Friday season, which goes until the 12th of December. So check it out with the link in the description. And with the human developer having created his project, we'll move on to his opponent, who had to make everything using AI.
Alright, so first step is coming up with a game idea. I told ChatGPT about the sports theme, and it gave me a couple of concepts. The one I ended up choosing was a soccer-themed game where you just kill enemies by kicking balls at them. Sounds pretty fun. So I began working on a prototype inside of Unity with that idea, and I used ChatGPT to generate all the code. Now, the first prototype was pretty trash, but you know what? Every game starts somewhere. Anyways, we do gotta add some kicking physics to this game. I didn't want this to work like a regular soccer game where you would actually collide with the ball. What I wanted was the player to be able to walk over the ball and not have to worry about any collisions and be able to kick the ball in whatever direction they want with full freedom. Now, after fine-tuning the feel of the physics, I had ChatGPT try to add some enemies to the game. Sometimes the enemies would run into the ball when it wasn't even moving, and the enemies would still take damage, which is not what we want. I went back and forth with ChatGPT plenty of times trying to fix this issue, and it couldn't get it. So I switched my project over to Claude, and Claude was able to fix it first try. So W Claude. I didn't want to take the art too seriously. I didn't want to go for a very polished style. I just wanted something that was funny. So here's the player sprite I generated with ChatGPT. And I also had it generate 3 different types of enemies. And of course, we can't forget about the soccer ball. Anyways, here's what it all looks like put together. And for the background, I had Claude write some shader code for the slanted checkerboard pattern, which included some subtle noise to add texture and make it look a bit more like grass. Now, the biggest problem with the game at this point is the lack of microtransactions. I'm only kidding, of course. It's a lack of variety. And to solve this, I thought I would just add different types of balls. And after working with Claude for a little bit, we have 3 new ball variants: explosive, power, and weak. Then it was just time for final touches. So I added some gambling, a health system, the sound effects with 11 labs, and music with Suno. And at this point, the game is done. So here's some gameplay.
Okay, so Ballcalypse, I can almost immediately tell this is an AI project just by the ball art here. You can tell by how polished it is. This is very interesting also. I will say it looks like a Vampire Survivors played with footballs. Oh man, killing the enemies by kicking a ball into them though is really satisfying, I will admit. Come on, explosive. Ah! Yeah, I think this is the human game. You can just feel the character here, the human behind it. Incredible charm, and just the way he's kind of like dancing for his idle animation. Really cool. Nice. Oh, ooh. Wow, I've got 41 gold. Hello, Mr. Devilman. Only negative cards. I will say it's a little unsatisfying, like the whole shop system. I don't really feel like I'm upgrading my character that much. I'm just like spending my gold, revealing things, and getting these negative perks. Not a huge fan. I will say that the winner of this first battle is Devil's Lane. Based on the art, the atmosphere, and the originality of the concept. It's now time for the second battle. The theme for this one is simulation. Let's begin with the AI developer. So unfortunately, the AI developer was not able to provide a video for this challenge, so I'm just going to go in and play his game right now. Let's see what he's created. This is a little game here, colony simulation. Keep your settlers fed, gather resources, and expand your tiny colony. Construction queue. Each house costs 20 wood and adds +4 population capacity, and I currently have 41 wood, so let's create a new house. A new builder, there we go. So there we go, I'm adding progress to my house. Clean interface. It's a very web-like game. A text-based colony simulation game, but it doesn't seem like there's much else that can disrupt the flow of things. There's no enemies or illness, civil war that can break out. Right, yeah, it quickly gets boring. And now introducing the human developer.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam from the Sam Monster YouTube channel, and for this challenge I had to make a game better than AI with the theme simulation. So after some thinking, I decided to build a game that simulates cells under a microscope. You play as a scientist observing a tiny ecosystem where every decision can help the cell survive or lead to complete collapse. So I opened up Unity to create the project, and then I jumped into Sprite to make a simple sprite for the cell. After that, I created a cell script and got to work on the cell's basic movement. I added a nice solid background and some post-processing to make it look like a real microscope view. Then I kind of redid the cell's sprite by adding a black outline, and then next I worked on the sprites for the nutrients that the players can place down for the cells to consume. I made 3 simple little sprites to represent the cell food and coded it so that when a cell touches the food, it gains 20 energy. Then I made the cells actually track down the food and eat it. After that, I implemented cell splitting. When a cell has over 80 energy and the player presses space, the highest energy cell splits into 2, dividing its stats as well. I also added a nice little wobbly animation to make them feel more alive, and made sure cells don't run into each other. Then I made some UI for placing nutrients, and set it so placing a nutrient costs $10. You earn money passively, $1 per second for every cell on screen, so you can farm nutrients, grow your cells, and build your little cell empire. After that, I redesigned the UI a bit and added text mesh pro indicators above each cell showing their energy percentage. I also made cells slowly mutate and grow in size as they eat and shrink slightly when they split. Then it was time to create some bacterias, and clearly I am not an artist, but after looking at some real life bacteria references for a long time, I managed to create 3 types, each with their own animations, and then I implemented them so they hunt down and fight the cells. After lots of work, I made the bacterias and cells fight each other and gave each bacteria type different stats. Bacteria spawn in 2 ways, either as a rogue bacteria that randomly appears, or in waves. Every 50 seconds, a bacteria wave begins. The cells group up in the center of the screen and bacteria come in from every side. Now you have to keep your cells alive while helping them fight the incoming bacteria or germs. After adding sound, a game over screen, main menu, and polishing the game, there wasn't much else I could do in the short time that I had. Anyway, thanks to Blackthornprod for inviting me, and I'm excited to see what the AI made.
Very cool microbe game. Guys, that's going to be a second point for Team Human. I'm not a huge fan of the visuals, not much going on, but the gameplay has some really interesting ideas, and I really like the exponential power that you're with those cool bacteria waves and stuff. It's got a cool thematic as well. Alright, it is time for the third and final battle. The theme is bullet hell. Let's begin with the AI developer.
Hey, I'm Ivan from Creactopous. I run a YouTube channel about making mobile games, and yeah, I also don't know why I got invited to this challenge, as apparently no one likes mobile game devs. So my task was to create a bullet hell game using only AI tools within a week. And don't get me wrong, I do use AI in my game development, but mostly as support. Here I had to use only AI for ideas, code, art, everything. So the first thing I did was go to ChatGPT because I wanted to come up with some funny theme for this game. But that's what I saw. And then I went to Claude and same thing. Eventually, it started working, but it came up with some pretty strange ideas. After a few iterations, I helped it to get to a topic I found funny. Yeah, a homeless man. My apologies to all homeless people. Anyway, so I asked Claude to generate ideas for enemies, weapons, and level settings. Then I went to ChatGPT to help me make art based on those ideas. It took me some time to refine the style, but once the style for the main character was ready, I could ask ChatGPT to apply it to all of the other characters, items, and UI elements. As we were making a game about homeless guy, so I thought these characters might fit best. I used Photoshop to make sprite atlases combining all created images for performance optimization. Then I created a project in Unity, made a few animations for the character states and UI, and then I used an AI tool I recently found to code the whole game. I haven't written a single line of code myself making this game. Crazy. I haven't even corrected or deleted a single line. On the other side, it doesn't always understand what you need right away, but once you are more specific, it's amazing. So I asked it to write a player controller, then I added a few enemies to attack the player, then I added a chest system like in Megabonk, where the player gets weapon from, but it's not really a chest, it's a trash bin, as it fits the theme better. And I made player to hold 6 weapons at once, like in Brotato. Then I added a player upgrade system and made a few variations of enemy behavior. Then I polished the UI a bit, also using ChatGPT, and voila! Done!
And to wrap up this third battle, let's see what the human game developer has brought to life.
Okay, here's my idea. Game is gonna be set in space, it's gonna be roguelike / incremental kinda game, and this is the game loop. Player looks through spatial window, shoots down asteroids, collects resources. Once weapon runs out of energy, session ends, and there is upgrades and skills, and well, if that doesn't make a sense, I'll show you on the screen right now. So this is the ship, this is the cockpit. We go in and start session by pressing this green button. Asteroids spawn in from all around the edges, and we simply hover over them to deal damage. Once we run out of energy, session ends, and we can see our stats over here. Let's go to upgrades now, and I made quite a few of them, each with different levels. I split them into 3 parts: damage, energy, and resource gathering. They're sitting on these screens, basically default Unity cubes. Very stylish, I know. Entire ship is made out of them. And after upgrades, we become stronger and can destroy more enemies faster. We go here, recharge energy, and once we're full, we start next session. Next, I added boss meter on the left here. Once we destroy enough asteroids, it fills up and this big guy appears. And he's gonna have a lot of health. And that's basically the game. Of course, there is the usual boring stuff I added. Menus, currency display, right here. Saving system, all the behind scenes things I had to do. And I spent around 35, maybe 40 hours during this week, which is like 93 times less what I spent on my main Steam game called Graveyard Gunslingers. It's a roguelike bullet hell with many characters, weapons, huge skill tree, and you know what? You must check it out. It's on Steam. Okay, back to our space game. As I said, I spent around 35 hours on it, so it's not something super crazy, but with the hours I put in, it turned out pretty well. I'm proud of it. Let's see if someone can beat this using only AI.
I'm guessing this is the AI game again, based on the artwork. It's very crisp and ultra polished 2D art. Oh my, is this another Vampire Survivor-like? No way. Yes, I think it is. I'm automatically attacking a bunch of pigeons and rats here. It's funny that the AI made the developers generate 2 Vampire Survivor-like games. I guess the AI has understood those are successful games nowadays. Yeah, pretty impressive little prototype from the AI developer, but for sure a little generic, a little unoriginal. Cool music. Oh, very polished, smooth transitions. I like how the UI is incorporated within the level itself. Look at that, there's an upgrade panel. Very clean project. I'm going to give the point to Team Human once again. That's 3-0 for humans versus AI. Totally not biased here. Numbers goes up, had a lot more of a smooth game loop, far more original again, and I really liked how the UI, your upgrades, everything was incorporated within the same space. Do you agree with our decisions on who won these game dev battles? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to like the video and subscribe. We have some crazy game dev challenges in the making. I can't wait to show you guys. Cheers.